Hi there, Malcolm here for my 386th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a review for Love Will Tear Us Apart by C.K. McDonald, and this is book 3 of the Stranger Times series. This is an urban fantasy set in Manchester, and it follows the team of a paranormal newspaper where a shocking lack of newspaper creating seems to take place. And dotted throughout these books are the occasional excerpt from the newspaper of some wacky thing. So we've got Ghost cancelled, yeah, so Stephen King plagiarist, where a Roger Witherspoon is citing his book Whoops-a-Daisy, Mr. Crabtree Goes to Vegas, has been plagiarised by The Shining, because although they're two different stories, all the words in The Shining feature in a different order in his book. Things like that. And this one has two separate storylines which do eventually converge. First off, we follow Hannah, who we saw in the first book joining as assistant editor to the Stranger Times and going on the first adventure. In this one, she's left. She's actually gone back to her celebrity cheating husband, who'd been to Special Spa Complex and become a new man, as it were, and so she's gone there to go through the same experience. Of course, she's undercover. And that really felt a lot like the remade Randall and Hopkirk Deceased TV series featuring Bob Mortimer and Vic Reeves, where they go to a similar place with Hugh Laurie as the hypnotic bad guy in charge. And there were quite a number of very similar themes in both stories there. I don't know if that was intended, but I couldn't help but see that storyline from the TV show. On the other side, we have Vincent Bancroft's obsession with his dead wife, in that he strongly believes that she's not actually dead and has been trying to communicate to her through the medium of a dead reporter who is now haunting the Stranger Times. I'm glad to say that that storyline does come to a conclusion. It's been sort of floating about a bit in the first two books and kind of explains why Bancroft is the way he is. And so really interesting to see whether we get a different Bancroft in the series going forward. And I must say, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the dig at these celebrity style getaways, you know, the types of people who attend them, and the types of people who run them as well. It's a very different world. And all the main characters from the previous two books are back. Those who've survived anyway. Well, even some of those who didn't, such as Simon. As this sort of found family that we get with the team at the Stranger Times just try to coexist and suffer each other, particularly Bancroft, who in this one was particularly difficult to live with. Dealing with the fact that Hannah has apparently upped and abandoned them all, and they have a new assistant editor who's come in, who is far more than she seems, and also not very good at editing. We get more of Stella's mystery explored. Not an awful lot. She's still a very mysterious character, but by the end of the book, they're beginning to address the fact that she is mysterious, that they don't know anything about her past. She doesn't know anything about her past. Hell, she doesn't even have her last name, for goodness sakes. And so I'm hoping that, again, going forward, we'll find out more about who or what Stella is. But I also like how the series has been tied together, in that a lot of what happens in this one is as a result of what happened in the first book, although that's not really made clear until right towards the end. I would say that the two resolutions happened a little quickly and easily, but at the same time, you don't necessarily need to have a great big boss battle stretching over several pages to have a satisfying conclusion. And indeed, the conclusions, both of them, were very satisfying. I'm also happy to report we had another Loon Day. We had Loon Day in the first book. I think it was literally the first day Hannah started. Loon Day is basically where the Stranger Times open their doors at 10 o'clock to let the general public come in with their stories. They call it Loon Day. And we have a number of accounts of these idiots coming in, giving their story, and you think, well, obviously the author has made these stories up to go in here, but you wonder, actually, has he? Because, you know, we've all experienced these stories online or on those silly newspapers. There's one great one where a woman comes in complaining that they'd published an article about a woman marrying the M62. That's impossible. And they go, well, why is it impossible? She says, I'm married to the M62. Unfortunately, it transpires that the woman in the article was also present, resulting in the two women having a fight because they both believe that they're the ones married to the M62, not the other one. And there was also a great nod to Terry Pratchett in that a man comes in with a duck on his head. They're even asked, are you a fan of Terry Pratchett? The answer was either no or who, and he has a completely different thing to talk about. At no point do either him or the person behind the desk talk about the duck on his head. I thought that's just perfect. Fun, humorous, clever, ridiculous, very satirical. A highly recommended read, particularly if you're in Manchester. I think the only disadvantage I have is I don't know Manchester at all. And so I think if you live in Manchester or you know Manchester, this might work even better, as the city itself is almost a character in its own right. And there's one scene here that made me just shut the book and go, whoa, that just happened. We just finished watching Fallout Season 2. And if you've seen it and you know what I mean by when those control trips go wrong, there's something that happens. Yeah, something very, very similar happens in this, but in a cafe and across the breakfast table. Yeah, if you know, you know. Booktastic. Absolutely love the series. Highly recommend it. So there you go. That is Love Will Tear Us Apart. Have you read it? Have you read The Stranger Times yet? If not, why not? Great for fans of things like X-Files, Jim Butcher's Harry Dresden series, although it's a lot less gritty in ways. Comment down below, please. But as usual, if nothing else to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTube things. If you want, until next time, see you later.